Okay, despite growing up in a very erudite, education focused, we watched a lot of the History Channel before it was garbage, a lot of PBS, a lot of educational things. My dad is a lover. He has instilled in me and a lover of mess, garbage, slop, and trash. Some of my fondest memories are watching Love and Hip Hop with my dad the summer after I graduated high school. Watching, the Keisha Cole show as a whole family. We were patrons of I Love New York as a family unit. I'm like 6 to 8 being like, yeah, she is a floozy, isn't she? So I've always wanted to get into Real Housewives, and I've like had it on in the background while I had cable and would partake in some housewife enjoying. You know, The Bachelor is in my pedigree. It's in my discussion. It's in my love. So my pedigree is trash, but it's not the fun kind of trash that all my friends were talking about. And you know me. My special interest is in the intersection of celebrity, influence, and it factor. Not everyone's a talented actor or singer or, but they have it. And I think that's the arena in which reality TV is at its best. Because you can be talented as all get out and still not have it and thus not be a star. And a lot of people don't want to hear that. And they're like, we want to democratize and blah, blah. Some of you bitches don't have it. And I'm sorry. I don't have it. I'd be bigger if I had it. I look so hot today. The intersection of it and the democratization of celebrity coincides with reality TV shows. And I love them. I want to get more into them, and I feel like I'll only watch them if I have some reason to make content about them. And sometimes I only ever want to watch TV that isn't like YouTube if I know I'm going to make a video about it. So I must introduce you to Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I love them skanky bitches. They're not skanky because they're sluts. They're skanky because their personalities are rotted. I took detailed notes the first time I watched the show. I've watched season 1 3 times at this point. And season 2, I think all the way through once. We were joined by a storm, it appears. And when I watched it the first time, when it aired, season 1, when it aired, I was like, oh, this is great garbage. I watched the show, took notes, was waiting to film this until I finished watching season 1 enough to take notes, and then sat on it for what is rounding up on a whole year. So I don't know how long it's going to take me to run through my notes for what I am calling this first episode, Will Mom Talk Survive This? With full notes. This was fun. This was a fun exercise for me. Will Mom Talk survive this? A primer. Mom Talk, meaning either moms like mother or moms like Mormons, is a neighborhood regional content house filled with the meanest, blondest bitches that didn't get nursing degrees. They deal in sex and sex appeal, all while being kept chaste women. They are openly cosplaying feminist ideals while enforcing these patriarchal ideals against each other in the friend group. Be divorced, sure. But don't get a divorce. Don't give up. But once you're divorced, well, we've already done it. If we couldn't beat it or shame you out of it, then we just couldn't do it. It just couldn't be done. So, notable statements is that for season 1, Layla's kids are very rarely ever seen. I think you see them in one scene where she goes with Macy and takes her sick-ass kids to the gross pit to get them more sick. Taylor's kids from her first marriage are almost never seen on screen, and their faces are blurred, I believe. All the sinners, which if you don't know, we'll get there, are all divorced, and all the saints are in their first marriage, marriages with the exception of Macy, who has the special case of widow. Technically, she is on her first marriage, but she is also a product of widowhood. Demi's husband is 17 years older than her, and they have been married for 4 to 5-ish by the time of this recording years, with the ages being 46 to 29. Dakota is a recovering addict that almost died to fent. Don't do drugs. Taylor's mom is the worst. And Michaela is age 23, married for 16. For 6 years, looks like Leighton Meester, and has a chronic illness that manifests as a skin condition that we will later find is like complex PTSD that manifests as chronic illness that manifests as a skin condition. These are, I think we've reached the part that I need to get to cover episode 1, the first book of Taylor. Taylor, Frankie, Paul, the like, if you don't know, which it's like I feel like it was everywhere, and like if you're clicking on this video, you have like enough interest in it that in the series that you should know. Taylor, Frankie, to be there in 2022 when it was like, here are these hot Mormon MILFs, because it wasn't mom talk, it was MILF talk to those who were outside of the in-group. Hot Mormon MILFs dancing around suggestively and sexily. They were just like, it was like like blow up of like trad wives, and like we're still coming out of like pandemic, brown tanned women coming back from Hawaii. The history and like understanding of why Mormons are so popular online is so deep and layered, but my biggest take on it has always been that people love babies. There are like there are like a couple of things that people like really love, but at the birth of YouTube, with lifestyle content, with these first batches of teenage girls coming out and making content, and a good bit of them, were Mormon, and they're blonde, and they're cute, and they're pretty, and they're bubbly, and they're bright, and they do all the stuff in high school. They graduate high school, and then they get married. They either go to college or they get married. They get married super young. And so then, if you've already amassed a base, and now you're going to have wedding content, and that amasses a different base, and like everything's pulling, and then you have a baby, and then you explode. These bloggers, these vloggers, these YouTubers were exploding upon the point of having children. And that kind of teaches you to keep having children. If you're not religiously, if you're only guided by money, you might do that. See Ace Family, which I do believe Kristen starts with a C. Catherine McBroom, I believe, is a Christian. But if you're already told through the doctrine of your belief to have a shit ton of kids, and then having a shit ton of kids makes you a lot of money, and you believe that that is God telling you to have a shit ton of kids, you're gonna have a shit ton of kids, and that's just gonna feed into it. No matter how good that is for the children, your personal economics, the country, whatever, you're gonna do it. People have been having kids for time immemorial, and they've been justifying it for just as long. But these bloggers would get big doing that, and then they'd transcend, and they would cycle through. We're kind of seeing the 8 passengers drama, but more importantly, you have like people seeing that and taking that, and then during the pandemic, these young, brown, hot Mormon wives coming together, dancing, like Mormonism. And so they have these babies, and people are really into them. These young, hot women have these babies, and people are really into babies. Both people who are into babies for altruistic reasons, you just like looking at babies, and the idea of babies is good and positive to you, or you're a freak. I stopped watching the one mommy blogger I was watching back in 2022, probably around the time that I became aware of the Mormon mommies, because I was like, I don't think this is right for my brain, being obsessed with what Violet and Scout are up to. I don't think that's good for me, because like a little bit of lore about me is that I grew up watching John and Kate +8. And I remember becoming aware at 10. Now, I was already aware, but like having like a little self-reflection is that I was watching so much John and Kate +8 that I was acting like the children. I'm 2 years older than the twins. So I was 10 acting 8 or younger, because the little ones were like 4 years younger. And that's not good for your brain. And I became aware of that, throwing fits like a child, and went, I don't think that's good. And I stopped watching. And like, it was my special interest and I knew a lot about the family. And then was like, I gotta get out of here. And did. To say mommy bloggers are a self-feeding cow. And the deal about content creators is that content creators are like atoms that grow and glom onto each other, creating bigger and bigger content bubbles. These women are coworkers. As much as they are friends, they are coworkers because they all grow together. Mom Talk should be a union. The women should unionize. The moms of Mom Talk should unionize. Taylor, Macy, Michaela are my favorite. To explain, is that they were growing, they're making money. These women are now making money on TikTok, and they are the primary breadwinners of their family. And then, bam!
Some people, we would have parties, and there was a group of us that were intimate with each other. It was more
Mormon wives swinging scandal. Now, the deal with Mom Talk is that the Mom Talk on the show and the Mom Talk in real life are kind of like, it's kind of like the Harlem Globetrotters, where like, oh my god, there's some Harlem Globetrotters performance in Oakland and also in Buffalo, and within like 3 hours of each other. How do they do it? There's like revolving casts, and the show is going to pretend like that is not true, and it makes some of the drama seem a little bigger than it actually is. I feel like it's explained more in season 2 when we get to meet one of the missing members of Mom Talk, but effectively it's like Taylor, Miranda, which will come up later, Whitney, and sometimes Macy, but mostly those 3 and like maybe another friend that maybe they'll convince to join the show. Were dancing and friends, and like extra strumpet Demi is there, and involved in the like friend group. And Taylor, her husband, Miranda, and her husband Chase, and then maybe some other people are all soft swinging at the start, where it's everything but penetrative sex. They're kissing, and then it kind of translates into full sex, penetrative sex, with the permission of your spouse. And then Miranda's husband says he has a sex dream about Taylor, and Taylor's like, haha, okay, and he kind of takes it to be like, I also want you, let's leave our spouses. She's like, no, I'm in love with you, and then she's like, no, so they, this causes the breakup of 2 relationships, and Taylor, in a live heard around the world, around the brain dead spear. I don't want to be degrading about things that I enjoy, but also I don't want to say around the world. It wasn't that deep, but it was. In a live heard around the world, goes on live, says, hey, I'm taking accountability before you hear about this from anything else. Me and my husband are getting divorced. We were all sleeping together. I don't know why everyone's mad at me, because we were all doing it. And she says we were all doing it, and people take that to mean it was all of mom talk. So, Macy, Michaela, strumpet Demi. Demi's not a strumpet. That's rude. Demi, Jesse, they all get caught up in it, kind of. With Whitney and Michaela feeling like they are taking on the brunt of, especially Whitney, because Whitney takes everything on as everything being absolutely about her all the time. Bless her heart. Everyone is like, I'm not a swinger. I'm not a swing. You're not. And like, no one thought. I mean, maybe some people in their group. But I only remember hearing about it tangentially and didn't think Whitney was involved. So, as we start, 2 years prior to even the start of the season 1, where Taylor is so painfully skinny. Her hair looks so large for her little body, like a candy pop. Everyone has a tragic backstory. We start with Taylor, Frankie, Paul, and the swinging scandal. We meet Whitney and how she grew up very, very, very Mormon. That her family is Mormon royalty. We don't really get into that. Season 1 is about the swinging scandal and the various competing pregnancies and mom talk. The pilot is very Mormon focused, and I've gotten into hearing more about Mormon royalty, but whatever. The women kind of run through their list of what it's like to be Mormon and don't have sex before marriage, except for Macy and Michaela, and Michaela having her child at 16. Explanation is that Mom Talk is a group of Mormon moms taking back their personhood through being fun and free and kind of sexual on the internet. And that is the basis of Mom Talk. But then Taylor, Frankie, Paul, and the swinging scandal that dissolves like 3 marriages. Somehow the other women are involved, and their sanctiment, their sacrilegiousment, was put into question. Their families threatened. I think if everyone was more straight up, it would be fine. They are not mad. Whitney, I don't even think Whitney's mad, because they are not mad at Taylor because she swung. She is mad because she fucks up the bag. Now we have the show. Now, the pilot is filmed like way before the rest of the show that we see, because of things that will become immediately apparent. So we meet the ladies: Whitney, Michaela, Jessie, Layla, Demi, Macy, Taylor, and Jen. We don't meet any of them bitches. We only meet Whitney, Michaela, Macy, and Taylor in episode 1. I think they go to Jay-Z spa, but I don't think we actually get to meet her lit.
Do what I did and cross your freaking finger. Because I've been told from everybody, like, I didn't get my account back for months. I was hacked in 2016. I never got it back. Scary freaking stuff. And I am 100% sure that I am an outlier here.
I think I've just been informed that I'm done filming for the evening.
All the support tickets I made.
That's fun. I don't technically need Wi-Fi. I would prefer if my lighting wasn't so yellow. So Taylor was a wild child that was pressured into marriage straight out of high school as she was sleeping with her former husband, Tate. And her very pushy parents, who suck, pushed her into a good Mormon marriage. Macy is from California. She's married to Jacob. Macy has 2 kids. One from her marriage with Jacob and another from her previous relationship, which is so we get into season 2 a little bit more, but effectively, like, Macy was in like a young college relationship. They were arguing. They get into an argument on the phone, and while he was driving, he gets into an accident and perishes. And she's like not far along at all. Like, stronger woman than me. But she has her son, her first son from her first love and then her child. And she still has a very healthy relationship with her previous baby daddy's parents. It's all very sweet. Taylor and Macy, so at the start of the episode 1, Taylor and Macy meet up to talk about everything since the swinging scandal. The two of them are talking about initiating sex and being free with love. We get introduced to Taylor's new boyfriend, a clout chaser. They have a tumultuous relationship. It starts on Instagram and they have great chemistry. Dakota is a recovering addict, and that impacts both of their self-destructive tendencies. Taylor posts a TikTok with Dakota, and women fly out of the woodwork to tell her that they were literally just with him, but girl, run. Taylor says that she would like to maybe get married again, and that this is a new time for her. She's first time as an adult being single, and it feels like a relationship could be getting out of the frying pan and getting directly into the fire. Macy is worried about her friend telling her not to settle. Whitney is coming back from Utah after swinging via the swinging scandal, her own husband is cheating scandal, and her own RSV scandal. I love Whitney because I am a progeny of people who you love to hate. Sometimes a bitch is annoying and you just gotta go, damn bitch, you are annoying, I love you. Whitney has issues with what Taylor has done with the swinging scandal because she feels that it prompts the question, are we swingers or are we Mormon women fighting patriarchy? There is nothing saying that you can't be both or neither. You don't have to be, you're not a swinger. The thing is, you stand accused of being a swinger, but that does not make you a swinger. Like, just because someone says you are something doesn't mean that you are. Like, girl, stand up. Macy calls Mom Talk a content house where they don't live together. They have similar senses of taste and style, which is why they all look alike, but frankly, Zara Whitney would probably freak out if they didn't all have a cohesive look on TikTok. They are all a self-growing plant, self-watering, that feeds each other. I've discussed.
When we appear in each other's videos, we get more likes, we get more followers, we all benefit because we make more money.
Which helps them make each other more money, which is why they're all friends. And why Whitney stays around. The girls, sans Taylor or Whitney, are making content. Jessie feels like Taylor is keeping everyone at arm's reach, which she feels is about everyone is being pushing around the group. Jessie is a hairstylist and the owner of the Jizz billboard. Her studio is named Jay-Z's Hair or Jay-Z Styles. It didn't look like Jizz. If it had just been Jay-Z Style, she probably can't do that because of Jay-Z.
Empire. We have had a billboard for my company. People are talking about how they think it says jizz. I can't. And if you drive past this billboard and that's your first thought, again, your mind's in the gutter, you gotta get right, because that's
when it's J line through it, Z, it looks like jizz. I don't know what she wants me to say. Jill's billboard. Apparently Demi was at one of the swinging parties but didn't know it, because she will then confront Taylor because she said, you were really drunk and were flirting with my husband. Girl, if he didn't want it, I'm not saying it's right to flirt with your friend's husband.
You never picked up on a vibe, nothing?
Brett said that he picked up vibes from the husbands.
Okay.
Because they...
But how do you feel out if they're into you? Like, she didn't fuck him. Like, she didn't assault him. She just was tacky and a swinger, which is like not your vibe, but it is not inherent for that not to be Demi's vibe as a personality trait, I will say. Demi didn't pick up the vibe that it was swinging or that they were being invited to be a 4th/5th. Demi is 29 at this time with her 46-year-old husband. Party foul. Brett, who would be my favorite if he wasn't 17 years older than his wife. Demi will be infinitesimally pissed that Taylor flirted with her husband while both of them were drunk. Demi truly believes that she is living the dream, being married to a man who is old enough to be her father, and is insistent that everyone is jealous of her and her man. Now, I'm not saying that Brett isn't, on paper, very attractive, but I think he looks like a soy/Wojak meme. Taylor goes over to her mom's house. Now, I was told not to use the word hate, but I hate Leanne. Like, villains of the show are like Whitney, Dakota, and Leanne. And Demi, we'll get there. So, Leanne and Taylor. Taylor's mom sucks because she never shuts the fuck up. Taylor goes over to her mom, Leanne's house. Leanne is my enemy. Leanne is in fact correct to tell her not to date Dakota. Fair. Leanne is like, you shouldn't be dating this guy. Taylor says to her mother that she's late, and that she needs to take a pregnancy test. Leanne is pissed. Leanne is constantly disappointed in Taylor. Taylor could be doing everything right, feeding the children and being a good mother, and she would still somehow find a way to insult her. Leanne isn't doing too much greater than her anyway for her to have these great and powerful opinions. It is not my business, technically. And should I be capping for Leanne? No. But she does piss me right the hell off. Leanne is constantly disappointed in Taylor, and Taylor's never making the decisions that she would, because she always chooses to she would always choose to turn the other cheek. And, wash her wounds. Taylor is risky, but cardinal in her lifestyle. She is straight. Leanne wants Taylor to spiral and be self-flagellating all the time when she messes up, and Taylor just isn't. I have little essay interstitials. So, on Leanne and Taylor. Taylor's mom sucks because she never shuts up. Like, she has all these wants that are antithetical to what is reality. I wish you weren't having a baby with him without being married. Well, I can't shoot it back up into his dick, can I? I wish you hadn't gotten arrested. Girl, same probably. Marry Dakota so that you aren't an unwed mother. And so she can get another divorce and you could go, I wish you weren't divorcing Dakota again. Like, there's never going to be a solution for her. Like, maybe we wouldn't be in this place right now if she had ever thought about for a second what her kid needs, like 10 to 20 years ago. Instead of having an 18-year-old that might be throwing a fit and feeling feelings, you have a 29-year-old who, with 3 kids, where things can get bad very quickly. Like, Taylor is a hurt person thrashing around for something, and her mother is not budging. She is like a smooth and shiny rock in the midst of an ocean. Taylor can't grab hold of it to find comfort or respite and simply slides off, and then when the tides bring her back towards the coastline, gets battered against it. She is in need of reassurance and stability, and Leanne's need for Taylor to be both punished for her behavior and also not do anything that's going to embarrass or inconvenience her is so selfish. I don't want to do this again, Taylor. You've aged me. Like, bestie, we know. You suck. Like, I'm not saying my parents have never been disappointed in me. Thou, who is not a disappointment, cast the first stone. However, I think you gotta wait until your kid's on the other side of it to really start thrashing around on it. I don't know. All this. Taylor pushes Dakota away because she doesn't believe that she deserves something good like him. Girl. He's not good. Maybe her subconscious protecting her from that bastard man. Probably because her mom makes her feel like a burden constantly and all of her friends kind of hate her.
Taylor, for real.
Yeah.
You're so stupid. Why would you put yourself in that situation? You're always screwing up everything. It pisses me off.
You are suffering a deep, unparalleled suffering while pregnant, and your friends are plotting on kicking you out of the friend group. We go to Jesse's house for a girls' day. They talk about Whitney moving back after Connor was found to be on Tinder. Macy found it on Reddit. Macy is always finding shit. Whitney was able to hide her personal scandal in Mom Talk. Hyper blonde Whitney introduces Mom Talk Prime. They live
in the beginning of Mom Talk. It was me, Macy, Michaela, and Taylor. We were a really solid group, but since
Utah County, it's Macy, Michaela, Taylor, Whitney were Mom Talk. No, it wasn't. They moved Whitney, and her gay husband That's rude. I like Connor. He hasn't done anything that is deserving of me calling him her gay husband. Never has a marriage looked more lavender. Like, Whitney gives off the distinct energy of someone who was really into braiding her camp roommate's hair. Really enjoyed the sisterhood of brushing and maintaining and taking care of. Giving solace to her camp girlfriends, besties. Really enjoyed the sisterhood of communal sports. Was not particularly interested in intramural league sports. Do you get it? And then Connor, I think, treats Whitney like a beautiful Barbie doll. He treats himself like a beautiful Ken doll. But no one has ever discussed Ken as some bastion of masculinity, except for weirdo religious freaks, so I guess. Whitney and her husband Connor, who has an affinity for changing his personal look at a minor inconvenience. Like, Connor is such proof that it took them forever to film not only this first episode, but like this first season, that this man changes so much. To the point that I didn't even clock that he got a hair transplant. My favorite thing about the show Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is the fact that it's like intercut with like TikToks from the girls all night. 5 hours. I was putting in hours. After Whitney had her kids, she was worried that this was all that life was going to be. In in a society that the peak of womanhood, the most important thing you can do is make and have a baby. Is this it? She found community with other women in Mom Talk, and that this is the Mom Talk that gives her a chance for leadership. She's Mormon royalty, but she's a woman. She can never take on the cloth. She's Mormon. She's never going to be really given a chance for leadership in the church. But she can find that in her community. She can make a community and make the rules. I think it's just frustrating for her, like many children who yearn for control on the playground, that no one just wants to play by only her rules. So Mom Talk is a chance for Whitney to make money, shake her ass, celebrate women and moms. Good for Whitney. Whitney and Connor have champagne for the first time in their new home. Mormons can't have alcohol, but they do it. They do not enjoy it. She decides that she wants to talk to Taylor and air out their feelings and settle things. Whitney wants to shame Taylor for all the things she did that got Mom Talk in trouble. About Connor cheating at Whitney and him coming out about it. I'm not a Christian, but I was under the impression that you can't lie to God. That he is omnipotent and he's all-knowing being, so lying to your friends or preacher is just saving face. Punishment for your sins should be coming despite if you tell or not. Your covenant has already been broken. If you as a wife have forgiven him, then it should all be gravy until death. You know, if you pray and all that, it should be gravy. But it's not. It's very clear. Like, if you pray and do whatever you need to do with God, why does a third person, i.e. your community, your preacher, your pastor, really need to be involved other than the shame aspect? I think that's the thing I don't get about Christianity, is how much, like, shame has to do with it and how much people can shirk responsibility of being unchristian by just being shameless. I don't know. I'm not a Christian. I think Whitney feels more shame around being cheated on than Taylor feels about cheating. I think that's really big and important. I think a lot of Mom Talk and a lot of motherhood seems like a lot of substance abuse in the name of coping with stress and pain. Confusion. At lunch, Michaela and Whitney wait for a third at a place called Brunch Hard. Michaela's 23 and married and has been married for 6 years. Crazy. She got pregnant at 15 by her husband Jace, who's 21 at the time. There's a lot of backstory that I will have in the future around it, but generally, like, Jace might not have known that she was that young. He was like 21. because she was a runaway and generally looked too young or too old. I don't know, I think in a culture that kind of rewards women looking infantile, it might make sense that you might not know what an 18-year-old looks like, because an 18-year-old could look like a 15-year-old that could look like a 21-year-old trying to be that. Like, I'm not excusing it, and they have gone on record talking about how it was weird and how they probably wouldn't have done it that way if they could have done it again. But I think it's really hard to confront people about the abuse they suffer, especially when that mistake results in their children. It's very complicated. But Michaela was being abused in the time before she met Jace, and that he didn't know her true age at the time that they became pregnant. She was raised by a church leader that didn't believe her when she said she came forward with her abuse. Michaela does content creation about her skin, body, and hair issues, and she and her BFF, Whitney, talk about confronting Taylor. What you got, ho?
Okay, I'm Taylor. What's up, bitch? I'm just kidding.
Michaela and her BFF, Whitney, are gonna talk about confronting Taylor. Why are we confronting Taylor again? 3 ash blonde women just swapping boob talk. Taylor comes in and Michaela talks about her breast after breastfeeding. Taylor says something crass and they both stare at her like she's got a second head. Taylor has recently gotten breast implants. That's really kind of not important. We don't dwell on that because none of this matters. Taylor is surprised that Whitney didn't share that she was moving. Whitney is like, why did you post that video / TikTok live where you explain that everyone's hooking up? It's like, hey girlie, I haven't heard from you in a while. Why did you blow up my entire life? Oh, okay. The problem with mom talk from this perspective is that if mom talk is at least 8 women we know, and a Miranda, and then like 4 or more, then that revolving door of Taylor's friends and neighbors. So when Taylor says that mom talk is swinging with each other, they're all somehow in it. Like, I was there. Do not recite the old text to me. I was there when it was written. Taylor was the face of mom talk, and her blonde porn star sexy friends were there. Utah MILFs, MILF talk. Whitney was not really a part of that conversation. So when Taylor talks about her experience that led to her marriage ending and all of her friends not talking to her anymore, it's also surreal that soft swinging from Mormons, like the year before we were introduced to soaking, biblically distinct from sex because they aren't thrusting. They place the penis head inside the vagina and then a third party shakes the bed so that they can achieve climax. Soft swinging becoming everything but penetrative sex with people who aren't your spouses, paired with an extremely attractive Mormon MILFs. Like, it's tantalizing, and the only people who should have been thrown by this are prudes and people who listen to them. When it comes down to it, everyone was making content around this thing when it happened to Taylor, and that's like, what is the solution? To just post through it or fall on the content sword? Kourtney Kardashian conundrum. The Kourtney Kardashian conundrum, if you are unfamiliar, and again, I have not watched the Kardashians. I kind of want to, and then I grapple with the moral implications of supporting them. But the Kourtney Kardashian conundrum is that Kourtney is kind of the most hated. Like, she goes through it, and people still give her shit for it. Given, I do think Kourtney is annoying, but she fell on the sword. Was Taylor meant to fall on the sword? That is to say, no, Whitney. I don't think everyone thought it was you swinging and cheating on your husband. Whitney uses therapy language to talk about why she doesn't fuck with Taylor anymore. She doesn't feel safe with them anymore. She doesn't want to make videos with Taylor because she doesn't feel safe with any. Taylor doesn't care what other people think, so she doesn't apologize for the video. Kayla says that her relationship was put under scrutiny because of everything Taylor's video and actions that hurt her. The girls come to her saying that she ruined everything for them, but they were still using it for content, and that left her out to dry. Whitney gives some fuck-ass community speech.
Here on out, we have each other's backs. Cheers. Cheers, ladies. Cheers. Yay.
Ending that scene. Jessie dyes Whitney's hair red. Thus why this wig was chosen for the start of this. However, I don't think the color is quite right. Jessie dyes Whitney's hair red. Her and her husband have new hair, and he's bald, and he has a porn stash. Whitney says that she doesn't want to continue to lie about the reason why they left Utah. Connor apologizes and says he doesn't want to be the victim and cry when he's the one who hurt Whitney, the actual victim. When they were asked why they lied, they said that when they were asked, they lied. But Connor has been caught talking to people, men and women, I guess, hearing from the internet. On the show, they just say men, or women, on Tinder, and Whitney didn't leave. She feels like a hypocrite for staying, but whatever. Mom talk family meeting at Macy's house. Everyone, sans Jesse, Layla, and Jen, are here to hear Whitney out. No more secrets in mom talk, and she starts out by crying.
Yeah, there is. I really want this mom talk group to survive.
Connor was on Tinder. I lied. I was embarrassed. Connor has a porn addiction. She didn't know until she showed him what she thought was a meme of like being like, oh my god, they say you're on is that? Yeah, that's fine. They say you're on Tinder. Are you on Tinder? And she's like, ha. Whitney felt like a joke. He had been doing it their whole marriage, sending nude photos. Whitney needs a support system, and that's what mom talk is, I guess. Taylor, in a less somber tone, that as long as they can look past her stuff, they can look past Connor. It's shitty that it's shitty that Whitney used what happened as a soft-spinning scandal to cover what her husband did and made it feel like she needed to run away. You'll see what Whitney loves. You will see in the show that Whitney loves running away, one in conflict. She even moves after her beef with Mom Talk later this season. Taylor says that she has some news. She's 4 weeks pregnant. Woo! But actually, she's miscarriage. And it's an ectopic pregnancy. Oh no. So she has to get an abortion. Hijacking Whitney's moment. But like, Whitney, you also use Taylor, so...
What the actual fuck, Taylor? What the hell are you doing?
Whitney's myth that Taylor would request the use of the support system right now when she needs to use the support system. How dare you? I guess. Demi asks if Taylor is going to be more careful next time with her boyfriend Dakota. No. Date night with Taylor and Dakota. Dakota is a 29-year-old man who will not stop wearing hats. He does get a hair transplant. He does get at the end of... I've seen it. I don't know when he got it, but I've seen it posted that he's got a hair transplant. And he did, in fact, stop wearing hats. He wasn't wearing a hat in the reunion, so God. He wants to do wholesome things, like sex before marriage and cheating on his girlfriends. At dinner, Dakota recounts how they go together and how they got together. She DM'd him. She thought he looked like Jake Gyllenhaal. He wants her to be a better person and to marry him one day. She doesn't want to be married in the church because it's being sealed, and being sealed together makes everything really complicated. He says he can't be with her if she isn't devout in her Mormonism. Dakota is sober and has given his life to God. Dakota wants to settle down. Doesn't Dakota sound like such a great guy? Oh, God. Taylor would miss drinking. Is that crazy for him? Because, like, alcohol is too far, but stepping out on your commitments isn't? Like, again, not a Christian. I don't know. I didn't read the book. I watched a lot of documentaries about it, though, and I don't think you're supposed to be fucking other bitches. Taylor has a problem, a substance issue, when it comes to drinking. In her talking head, she discusses how she's going to drink after this, she's going to party, and that she's going to get fucked up. Dakota is sober, and that's a problem for both of them. They say I love you, and then they cut. We say...
I won't lie. Nah, I'm drinking. Like, tonight I'm getting effed up.
Say goodnight to the rest of the moms as sun sets over Provo, Utah. Then a 911 call and a domestic assault call about Taylor on Dakota. She's so drunk she pisses herself, and Dakota swears he didn't hit her and that he isn't drunk. They take her in and she's charged with domestic violence. End of episode 1. So that's technically the end of episode 1, but then they do next episode or on the season stinger, and it's very clearly later. She's in a different dress. And she's heavily pregnant.
I don't know.
With Dakota's baby. She has gone to... She had to spend the night in jail. She's on probation. Like, That poor thing. Poor thing. It's crazy. So it's such a good pilot. Like, I don't know if they had someone, it's not that the rest of the season is bad, but I wonder if they had someone else do the work for episode 1 specifically, because it's so good. It's so good. Like, it's so good. It's so good. But I love this show. Like, the show works. That first episode hits like crack in the 80s. I really enjoyed it, and so I kind of want you to, I want to sit on it. I want to sit on it. I want to sit with it. And so this will be the end of episode 1. But I'm going to go through the rest of season 1 and season 2. And probably by the time I get all this filmed, season 3. I really like this show. I'm going to keep talking about it, even if you guys don't like it. Sorry. I thought about making another channel for it, and if that's kind of the vibe, we'll discuss. But I'm truly, like, enamored. This absolutely insane Mormon wife show. And what it says about society as, like Real Housewives are delusional, but, like, B Squad is, like, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives and Love and Hip Hop. And it's fascinating to see people get relegated between leagues. Brett, Demi's husband, is the ex-husband of one of the Housewives of Salt Lake City. That's crazy. You can't allow that. Flag on the play, Raph. What the fuck? It's crazy. But whatever. You can follow me anywhere. On Instagram, Twitter, you can follow me everywhere. At Megan_Blush_. You can probably type in Magdalena and I'll probably pop up. Just being cute and hot and beautiful. Do I post on my Instagram? No. Domestic Violence episode 1. What the fuck have I done? What the fuck was that? Cool. I don't know what that was. I can't be asked to deal with that, so I won't. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye, guys. Clap, 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 clap.